Welcome. Welcome to you here in our beautiful sanctuary at Roanoke Metaphysical Chapel. And welcome to you too, joining with us through our live streaming service. We are so happy to have you here to join us on this glorious morning. I am your liturgist for this morning, Reverend Velma Bullington, and Nancy Stokes will be our speaker today. So please, as you are able, rise to sing our very first opening hymn, number 159, Confident Living. Please remain standing for the invocation and Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, and then we will all say it together as we do in English. Number 159. Sing out with gusto. Confident living. Oh, let's keep that in mind as we go into prayer. And why shouldn't we be confident? Because our presence is here all around us, within us, lifting us up, guiding our way. And so we are thankful as we get quiet and pray for God to surround us, to come through us. For God is all here. It is we who open our hearts, open our beings, and we do so this morning, this glorious morning, knowing confident trust in our presence, in our beloved, who is always here. Our confident trust is confident faith. Faith that knows that all is well. Faith that knows that we are in the image of God. We are in the power of God, in the love of God. And this loving power guides our way day after day. And that is our confident living. We know beyond any shadow of a doubt that you are here, beloved, that you are with us who know, who feel, who radiate your spirit in everything we do. We know this for those who do not know this. We know that you are there with them in our communities, in our state, in our nation, in all nations, in all leaders. May they hear, may they know, may they cast their fear away, may it dissolve as it does in us when we know you are here, guiding and loving, and that there is no need to fear anyone, anything, any situation. And so we give thanks this morning that we can live confidently in you, for we are confidently living our life in God. Amen. Amen. And now the Lord's Prayer as it fell from Jesus' lips so many years ago in Aramaic. Awun dwashmeya diskadeshishmak tete malkutha netwe sewiyana akana dwashmeya up para halam lachma zunkana nyamana washwok long how bain a canadap hanan schwacken the highwayn Wilitatlan linisiona ella passen min bisha mito dilaki malkutha hyla tishbo alam amen. Amen. And let us now together say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed is thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. You may be seated. Now, instead of reading the Declaration of Principles, we will listen to a wonderful inspiration reading given by Nancy Stokes.
Good morning. Whoa.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I guess I will speak a little lower here. Don't want to be too overly enthusiastic. Okay. I'm glad to be back with you all this morning. So I have a reading here from Emmett Fox, one of my favorites, in this book called Make Your Life Worthwhile. It's a fantastic little book. Okay, here we go. The great thing to remember is that fear is a bluffer. Call its bluff and it collapses. I'll get a little light on the subject here, tiny bit. There we go. An amusing incident happened in Holland a number of years ago. A lion escaped from a traveling circus. Not far away, a good housewife was sewing near her window, an open window, in her living room. The animal suddenly sprang in, dashed by her in a flash, rushed into the hall, and took refuge in a cupboard under the staircase. The startled woman supposed it to be a donkey. Really? A lion comes flying through your window and you think it's a donkey? Oh, this is such a funny story. Okay. I mean, really? Okay, she supposed it to be a donkey and she became indignant at the muddy footprints it left on her clean floor. She pursued it into the dark closet among the brooms and the pans and proceeded to thrash it unmercifully with a broom. The animal shook with terror, and the angry woman redoubled the force of her blows. Then 4 men arrived, out of the middle of nowhere, right? They have guns and they have nets. They recaptured the animal. The terrified lion gave himself up very quietly, only too glad to escape from that dreadful woman. When the good woman discovered that she had been beating a lion, she fainted away, and she was ill for several days after. This story illustrates perfectly the demoralizing power of fear. Our good housewife completely dominated the lion as long as she thought it was a donkey. And as long as she treated him as a donkey, the lion thought she was very powerful and was in abject fear of her. When she discovered her mistake, the old race belief of fear came back. And although she was now perfectly safe, she still reacted in accordance with the race tradition. Get rid of fear. Concentrate your fire on that, and other things will take care of themselves. This treatment against fear is to realize, which means to make real to yourself, the presence of God with you. Thank you. That was so fun. I hope that was inspiring in some way.
Yes.
Emmett Fox has wonderful stories, by the way. Okay, so now we're going to change energy a little bit here, change the vibration, and now is the time on our service when we're going to take a moment and we're going to pray for others. I invite you to close your eyes. Get comfortable and take a cleansing breath. Let's take another breath. We are signaling to our body that we are leaving the donkey and the lion behind. I would like for you to think about people in your life who need a little something extra today. I invite you to call out their names softly. Janet and Phil.
Ray West.
Helena. Dawn's daughter.
Tim.
Jackie. Nancy.
Catherine.
Jenny.
Caitlin. Haley.
Bill.
Reed.
We steadfastly hold the truth for each one of them right now, that each and all is a child of God, made in God's image, and that God, omnipresent, is always with them. There is never an absence of God with them or with anyone. And God is with them as love. God is with them right now as wisdom, abundance, protection, and health. We choose to see them right now as God sees them. They are whole, loved, and loving, filled with the potential for joy and peace, harmony, all the good things that God has already given. We place each one in the care and keeping of God, and we know right now all is well. And now, keeping your eyes closed, I would like you to take another cleansing breath. And another one. So we go from being alert to the outer to focusing within. I fear no evil, for thou art with me. afraid, because God is constantly with me, guiding and comforting me. There is no error in truth and no power of darkness to keep the light of truth from shining. My confidence in God, the good, is complete right now, in this moment. My faith in the power of Spirit knows no bounds. I harbor no doubt and no unbelief. I know that my good is at hand, and I realize that no fear whatsoever can hinder the good, my good, from making its appearance in my life. For error cannot touch me or hinder me. Breathe. I rest in the safety and security of the presence of God's love, where there is no fear, where there cannot be any fear. So I choose to rest there in God's presence of love. Let each of us feel that safety and security within ourselves as we abide in the presence at the still point of our soul. I will never leave you nor forsake you. You have nothing to fear, for I am with you always. We give thanks for this time to go within. And I say, Amen.
Amen.
Today's title of my message is From Fear to Clear. What lions are you facing? The Bible verse, I'm going to start with that. Hebrews 11:1. Many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with it. I have the Aramaic translation from Roanoke. This is not in the Peshitta, for those of you who have the Aramaic Bible of George Lomsa, but this is Roanoke's translation. Now, faith is the assurance concerning things we hope for, expect, as it was the substance of things that are now in existence. And it is the appearance, or the revelation, of things not seen. Dr. Errico says that faith is a firm attitude of heart and mind So he uses this word firm in the sense of enduring. It is an attitude of perseverance, actually. Ernest Holmes, who was the founder of Science of Mind, wrote this. This is really my favorite definition, because I think this hits the spot for me anyway. Faith is a mental attitude which is so convinced of its own idea that any contradiction is unthinkable and impossible. I mean, that pretty much nails down what faith is. There is no doubt, there is no unbelief, and whatever attitude, mental attitude that you have is so convinced that this idea is going to happen. This is what's happening in my life. There's nothing that can contradict that at all, ever. That is strong faith. So faith starts off as a mental assertion, something you're thinking about, pondering, but you elevate it to the plane of a realization, which means you understand that that is real for you. Our expectation of a thing leads to the revelation of the thing. In divine science, we would say, from the invisible to the visible. The more faith we have, the better the chance of its manifesting in the visible out there. Faith is even bigger than belief, according to Dr. Errico. Unfortunately, we find that there is much faith in fear. The things that we fear, we have faith in them. But let us also remember that God did not give us fear. That is our human invention, because we are forgetting everything is all right, F-E-A-R, or false evidence appearing real, F-E-A-R. Either way, you understand where I'm going with this. So fear, in reality, is our only adversary. There actually are no other adversaries. In the ancient world, Satan was seen as an actual person who actually urged people to do bad things and was the sole reason behind anything horrible befalling us. Not an act of God, which is what they sort of thought earlier, but then Satan made me buy that dress. Not God, Satan did that. Today, of course, we know better than that, because we know that Satan is an attitude of mind. It represents our internal adversary. And everybody's Satan is different based on who we are and what we are thinking. They say that there are really only two emotions. There's love and fear. And underneath those two headings are all of the other attendant emotions that you can ever name. They would be under love or fear. The founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore, in his book called Revealing Word, says that fear is a paralyzer of mental action. It actually weakens our body, and it hides the spiritual forces that we know are in there. But that fear totally overtakes our life, and we can even just totally forget who we really are. So how do we overcome fear? That's always the next question, right? Well, how do I get over that? In Revealing Word, again, Charles Fillmore says we have to affirm the presence and the power of spirit. And one way to do that is in a moment of fear, you can just say, God everywhere now. You can say, I'm here, God's here. That's all I need to know right now. I'm here, God is here. Very simple. However, you have to remember to do that. That's the tricky part. So by becoming conscious of God, then that means we are filled with some quietness and some confidence in that fearful moment. But the important part to know is it takes dedication to our spiritual practice. It doesn't just come upon us. It's because we are practicing the presence of God. And we have to keep our spiritual bank account full at all times. Now, fear is inverted faith. It's a two-sided coin. So we have faith, and then we've got fear on one side, and we have positive, good faith on the other side. So we can have faith in anything, whether it's good for us or not. By pondering the thing we fear will come upon us, we are magnetizing ourselves to that very fear. And no, I am not talking about Job today. I could go in that direction, but I chose not to. When you hear someone constantly affirming that they get a cold every single February, what happens every February? They get a cold because they claim it, and that cold just runs to them as soon as February starts. The twins, worry and apprehension, are friends of fear, and they definitely don't help us at all. Florence Scovel Shinn, who is an early New Thought writer, compares our worries to Daniel's lions that he faced. In the book of Daniel, the book of Daniel was written at about 165 BC to give the Jewish nation faith to face the cruelty of Antiochus Epiphanes. He was the king of Syria who had taken over Jerusalem about 3 years earlier. So it was written in 165 BC, but the story takes place during their own Babylonian captivity. So in Daniel chapter 6, Daniel, of course, who is a Jew, so the Jews are moved to Babylon, but Daniel rose to the place where he was actually what was he? What was Daniel? What was his position? Well, he was a prophet. But he got a job. He got a job with Darius. What was his job?
He was a teller of dreams. He was in demand.
Yes, so everybody loved him because he was amazing. And so Darius heard about him, and he ended up giving him advice and telling him about his own dreams. Well, apparently, the regular Babylonians there, they did not like that. And so they were very jealous of Daniel. And so they tricked Darius, which I don't know how they did this. They tricked him into making an edict. And when the Persians make an edict, you do not change it for anyone. And they said, well, no one can pray to any god except Darius for 30 days. So Darius put that decree out there. And I'm thinking, what was he thinking? Didn't he know they were tricking him? I mean, here's this brilliant guy that is the king of a whole place, and he doesn't get it. But this is the story. So what happened was, of course, eventually those guys brought Daniel to Darius and said, oh, guess what we caught him doing? He was praying to his God of Israel. And so the king, of course, he was deeply distressed about this because he actually really cared about Daniel, and he had helped him in his kingdom, but he had to do it. So he threw Daniel to the lions. So the next morning, the king comes racing down to the lion's den, and he yells out at Daniel. He says, has your God saved you? And Daniel actually says, yes, because I was found blameless before him. Well, I know that all of you are worried that the lions went hungry that day. They did not. They absolutely did not. They actually ate very well that very same day because the king commands that those who conspired against Daniel be thrown to the lions and their family, their children, their pets, their wives, everybody into the lion's den. So they ate really well that day, so I wouldn't worry about them if I were you. But Darius also said that the world should tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. In rabbinic literature, which contains various expansions beyond the text in the book of Daniel, we find some more elaborate details, such as the beasts in the den received Daniel as faithful dogs might receive their returning master, wagging their tails and licking him. I don't know how they know that, but there you go, a little detail. My favorite one, this is my favorite one. The mouth of the den was closed with a huge stone which had rolled of itself from Palestine to Babylon for that purpose. Wait a minute. Do you know how far it is from Palestine to Babylon? I do. I Googled it. It's 900 miles. There you go. I told you. 900 miles. Talk about exaggeration. The Semitic people love that. 900 miles, really, it would take people, this is also in the Google, it would take people 4 months to walk that. Give or take a little bit, because depending on traffic. So, if you want to learn more about exaggeration, you can take Reverend Velma's class on the Aramaic Bible study. It's wonderful. You'll find out all kinds of wonderful little tidbits that you never even knew you needed to know. So, the story of Daniel in the lion's den in chapter 6 is paired with the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace in Daniel chapter 3. So the parallels include the jealousy of the non-Jews, an imperial edict requiring the Jews to compromise their religion on pain of death, and their ultimate divine deliverance. And each story climaxes actually with the king confessing the greatness of the God of the Jews. So in each case, life was preserved by the divine presence. So this story was written at a time when the Jews really needed a hero due to this intense persecution of Antiochus, because he really hated the Jews. He hated everything about them. You would wonder why he would even go to Jerusalem to conquer them, but he really did not like anything about them at all. So they were very much persecuted. We must come to the conclusion that God is more powerful than any lions or fiery furnace that we may face in our life. So, what is your most prevalent fear? What lions are you facing? Rejection, failure, loneliness, change. Everybody hates change. Being judged by others, getting hurt. If you allowed yourself to continually think any one of these fears, let's say fear thoughts for 5 years, what would your life look like? What do you think will happen? If you ponder being rejected all the time, you will indeed experience rejection. If you ponder being how lonely you are, then you will increase your state of loneliness. If you ponder failure, then you are sure to fail at everything. You get the picture. Chapman University, located in California, actually conducts a survey of American fears every year. Apparently Cornell University also does the same thing. And so I was reading about it online because I wanted to see, because every year it's a little bit different. But 50% of those surveyed, and it was really a small subsection of the United States, but it was people all over the United States. It was a little bit over 1,000 people, not too many, but still they found this interesting. 50% of those who were surveyed feared economic failure, World War III, biological warfare, and the people that they loved dying. Of course, we're not really so fearful of death because we know there is no death and we are eternal right now. But that's a big one for a lot of people. Cornell University survey said 15 to 20% of us, okay. If you stretch that out to the entire population, that's millions of people are afraid of, 15 to 20%, are afraid of darkness, germs, enclosed spaces, ghosts, zombies, and clowns. Can I get a woot? Come on, people. I'm not quite sure that it would be quite 20% if The Walking Dead show had never come on television. Or World War Z, or any of those crazy programs that started always having those on there. I watched the first 10 minutes of the very first episode and turned it off and said, ooh, never again. I do not need that. But that's really crazy. So 20% of Americans are still afraid of clowns. Probably started in their childhood. I'm thinking, maybe. So here's another question. Are you afraid of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth? It has a name. It's called arachibutyrophobia.
Okay, there it is.
I thought you'd like that. Arachibutyrophobia is fear of the peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. Can you believe it? They gave it a name. Okay, now here's another one. If you're afraid of ventriloquist dummies, you have automatonophobia. Okay. We needed a laugh. So how do you feel when something really great happens to you in your life? Are you waiting for the other shoe to drop because you're thinking that whatever that is just too good to be true? Well, I'm here to tell you that nothing is ever too good to be true unless you believe it, unless you are thinking it, pondering it, talking about it. I would like to posit the idea that the only weapon that you have against your lions is your word. Scoville Shin, Florence, actually, they called her Flossie, her friends called her Flossie Shin, said, "Your word is your wand." You can use affirmations of truth to transmute your fear into trust. When you are fearful, like I said, say God everywhere now. So when you do that, when you're fearing over here, and then you get hold of yourself and you say, God everywhere now, God is here, I am here. You have changed the energy, you have changed the atmosphere, the vibration around you from fear to clear. You are not saying these affirmations to make something come true. It is already true for you. You are taking conscious possession of it by affirming it to yourself. Okay, I'm going to talk about Moses for a couple minutes. So Moses, when his people were standing at the Red Sea, I have a whole Cecil B. DeMille picture of this, right? You've got Moses, standing on the rock, right? The huge, gigantic rock, right? And he's got his staff in his hand, and he's looking at the people. The Red Sea is all roiling behind him, and then he can see, the other people that are looking at him, they're not looking at the danger, but we can see the danger, and so can Moses, because those soldiers, Pharaoh's soldiers, on their horses are flying towards his people. It's a good thing they couldn't see them, because it looked really scary from up there, I'm sure. So Moses says to his people, "Fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show you this day. For the Egyptians," we're going to call that darkness, "whom you have seen today, you shall see them again no more forever." I love that line. "The Lord shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace." The same thing applies to us when we see and meet any adversary. So stand still means, really, keep your cool. Can you see Moses with the staff? Keep your cool, people, come on. But no, stand still. That's the phrase from the Bible. It means don't be tense and anxious. It means stop trying so hard. Know that God is here and just let go. Now there's this word salvation. I used to really hate that word. Really, it was a trigger word for me. It was just like, what? Come on. It was all about Jesus dying on the cross, and I just really hated that. But now I understand what it really means. From a metaphysical perspective, this word salvation means regaining conscious possession of our God-given attributes. It means remembering who we are. It is the change from missing the mark to hitting the mark. So a change in identity occurs at our salvation, which we are responsible for, not some person or force outside ourselves. In my classes, I like to talk about the I am presence of the Lord. And that is, the I am presence is the Lord of my being. So this means the words that you use after the words I am are the boss of me. So who's your boss? Not who's your daddy, who's your boss? Who's your boss? So are you allowing yourself to claim with conscious possession your God-given gifts? Like, I am healthy, I am prosperous, I am successful, I am creative. Or are you allowing the Lord of your being, the boss of you, to be this? I am sick. Sickness is the boss of you. I am unhappy. Unhappiness is your boss. I am poor. Poverty is your boss. I am afraid. Fear is the boss of you if you claim that after the words I am. All of our enemies, all of our lions are within, and they are never out there. This is a big realization. The great thing about it is this is good news, because I can work with that. You can work with that, knowing that everything out there can just stay out there. It all comes right here, because it comes within me, and I am not the victim of some outside force. Every situation in your life is a crystallized thought out picture. Crystallized meaning your belief about the situation is very definite. It is well defined. Was that funny? Thank you. Okay, it all shows up by the same mechanism, whether it's good for us or what we would call it bad for us. So we need to answer every enemy thought with the word of authority. Well, what's that? What's the word of authority? Start to verbalize what God knows about you. We learn about the inherencies of God, which we have inherited from God as God's children. In our Fundamentals of Divine Science class, we talk about that. And the inherencies of God, which we have and have already been given and are part of us, though we don't recognize it, are things like this: wisdom, knowledge, understanding, power, joy, love. They are already present. So you turn your thought away from the lions over here and you turn to the truth. You turn the other cheek. That's what Jesus said. You're focusing over here. This is not good. You're not happy. Life is like, So you grab yourself right here and you say, come on, let's change this. And you just turn the other cheek. And you look over here and you focus on something else. So we want you to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. So we want you to be determined to stand still. When we are awake to the divine, then we are always awake to our good, and we know there are no lions. Probably no donkeys either. Hindrances can be seen as friendly, and obstacles can be seen as stepping stones. It's always our choice. So your thoughts and your desires are always taking you somewhere. So my question is, where do you want to go? Okay, here's a zinger. Some of you are probably not going to like this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Nothing has ever come uninvited into your life. Nothing. Nothing has ever come uninvited into your life. Now, I know some of you are going to bristle at that. You're going to just say, oh, I don't believe that. I want you to know that if you embrace this idea that nothing has ever come uninvited into my life, that I will be liberated. You will be liberated from all blame. You would no longer be a victim of any person or situation. You would be living life from the inside out. I know this from personal experience, and I believe it 100%. There's no doubt about it. But this is still good news again. Okay? So, if there's something in your life that you do not want there, and you're thinking, I didn't invite this cancer in. I didn't invite this terrible house fire. I didn't invite the death of my friend. I didn't invite this, that, and the other thing. I mean, most people would say that to you. I didn't invite cancer. I want you to act as if you invited it. And I want you to see what you can learn from it. I want you to sit it down in your favorite chair. It's in your favorite chair. You're sitting on the couch. You sit it down in your favorite chair and you talk to that situation, that person, that circumstance, and you say, teach me what I need to know. Why are you here in my life at this time? A simple change in perspective can really do wonders and can change your life. Your inner being, the God of yourself, the Father within, always says to you, acknowledge me in your ways, all your ways, and I will direct your path. So let me leave you with this. I invite you to close your eyes. If it's mine, I can't lose it. If it's not mine, I don't want it. I walk in the light of truth, and my fear giants dwindle into nothingness. There is nothing to oppose my good. I now, right here, right now, I put to flight my negative thoughts, and I go from fear to clear. And I say, God everywhere now. And we all affirm together, and so it is. And I say amen and amen to that. Thank you.
And thank you, Nancy Stokes, for helping us know how to not only get those lines to jump back out the window whence they came, but dissolve from our lives. and be replaced with confident living, with faith. Thank you. Nancy is a divine science teacher and a divine science practitioner. Thank you for coming. And now it's time for our, not for our benediction, no, for our offering. We don't want to forget the offering. And so please place your offering over your heart, your hands over your heart. If you have no offering, it's okay. You offer love. You offer goodness. You offer life to others. And your very beings. Please say after me, divine love provides my every need. Divine love provides my every need. I give this gift. With love in my heart. And I am grateful, beloved. That it blesses this church. Its outreach and me. The usher will now wait upon you. We'll sing number 378, our offertory song, first verse. $378. To us every day in every way. May this abundance be given from us through this church out to the community, out to those who need it, can benefit from it, with our love, with your love. Thank you in gratitude for abundance. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
We have a few announcements now. Friday, March 1st, coming up soon, at 7 p.m. is an all-message service right here in the sanctuary with Reverend Brown, David Ringer, and others. There's a $20 donation fundraiser for RMC taken right at the door. And on Sunday, March 3rd, we will have our regular worship service, and a luncheon will follow. Our potluck luncheon will follow immediately afterward, and please bring a dish to share. We always have a great time, great fellowship, and you just want to be part of it. I won't miss it for sure. I hope to see you there. And anyway, then we will have, right afterward, we will have an RMC board meeting, right after the luncheon, and then a practicum class to follow the lunch and board meeting at 2:30. All are welcome. If you would like to come and learn how to participate in the service with us, please do, because that's where the practice comes, practicum. And you will learn and feel free to join with us as these wonderful ushers have today, these young ushers, and you'll learn to just be part of the service, and it does something to give back in this way. It really does. A new class has started through Aramaic Eyes Bible Study. And now this is a different Bible study, and what does through Aramaic eyes really mean? Well, Jesus spoke, preached, and healed in the Aramaic language. He did not do all these things in Greek because Aramaic was a lingua franca. It was the common language used in trade and in every facet in the Near East at that time. So we are using many different Bible translations and comparing them to George Lamb's translation of the Bible from the ancient Aramaic Peshitta text. I teach this study, and it's held online every Tuesday evening from 7 to 8 o'clock. The cost is $10 per week, or you can pay monthly if you prefer. To register online, go to RoanokeMetaVA.org. That's RoanokeMetava.org, and click the class button at the top to register for the class. Participants need a Bible. Any translation is great. The more the better. And of course, another book, and we will be studying from this too and learning from this. It is Let There Be Light, The 7 Keys by Rocco Errico. We learn how to clarify and demystify the Bible through using these 7 keys, and this book will be used in all of our sessions, may be purchased from the Noohra Foundation, and you can Google and find Noohra, Noohra Foundation, or you can order it from Amazon. And so, and again, the class meets every Tuesday between 7 and 8 p.m. Have I missed any announcements? Are there any more?
We have the, when's the membership meeting? Isn't that next month too?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
March,
Sunday
is
it
it
is,
the
but
15th?
maybe the 15th, I don't
Okay,
know.
so we will check on that.
Okay.
Okay, if maybe you can, I didn't see that on the website, so, but I believe it is. Okay. Thank you to Nancy Stokes for your inspiring Sunday message. We enjoyed it. And thank you to Vince Monroe, our live streaming tech, who just live streams everything, readies the chapel for us every single Sunday prior to each service. Thank you. And thank you to our ushers. And what were our ushers' names?
Amethyst and Zayden.
Amethyst and Zenon.
And Zayden.
Zayden. Amethyst, thank you very much. What a wonderful job. Let us give them a hand. Thank you. And thank all of you for coming. Those of you right here in the chapel, and those of you online right now, and to you online, it's your gifts which keeps this live streaming service available each and every week. We are grateful for all of your donations, every one of them. So if you like what you've seen or heard today, just click the link on your screen. Just click it, or click the donate button on our homepage at RoanokeMetaVA.org, and you'll be directed to PayPal. So then, let us all stand for the benediction, then we'll all sing our closing hymn, number 3 in your red hymnals, Let There Be Peace on Earth. The Lord is blessing you and keeping you. May the Lord's Spirit rise up through you, giving you all the love, all the life, all the joy that you will ever need. And we rejoice in the fact that now we have no fear, because you are here, dear God, forever for us. And for that we say, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful week. And so now we sing number 3.